Hey everyone, it's Dave. Hope you're good. It's such a gorgeous early winter's day today that I thought I would shoot my thoughts outside. I'm really lucky where I live with my girlfriend Sarah. We live in a really nice area with such gorgeous countryside, literally on the doorstep. So every day, as an antidote to the chaos and the confusion of life generally, to be honest with you, let alone this year, I always get out into nature and absorb it and just immerse myself in nature. It has a calming effect on me and things start to make a little bit more sense. I think it's when you realise that you're part of something much bigger than you think sometimes you think you are. It certainly applies to me anyway. So this video is all about what have I learned in the last couple of years, and how do I want to continue developing and growing and learning over the next year. So before I start, if you enjoy my content, please do hit the subscribe button. Okay, so as you probably know from my videos, I do passionately believe that if life is about anything, it's about learning, growing, developing, expanding, and never stopping. And I think maybe one of the traps that Western society sets for us and that many people fall into is, once you've left university, that's it, you're the finished article, you're the finished product. Once you've got the job that you've aspired to, maybe once you've reached a certain pay grade, that's it. Don't need to be curious anymore, don't need to learn anymore. Now, I've personally never been like that because I just have a curious mind and I love learning about new things. But the first thing that I've learned in the last couple of years is that there is so much of societal convention and societal belief systems that so many people buy into that doesn't serve many people yet, and it didn't serve me yet. Many people, including me, think that is the template for life. Now, if you think about it, the universe is full of infinite mystery and intricacies, and the whole kind of like realm of existence is impossible to define and has never-ending possibilities. Why would human beings need to ensure that they have to follow a set down template in order to live their lives and be happy and fulfilled? It just doesn't make any sense. But a lot of it is relating to fear. So the first thing that I've learned is that in order to truly develop your character as an individual and to find the authenticity within and to have the chance to realise either fully or partially your potential, you have to let that individuality burst through by really examining which of these belief systems that exist and which of these structures that exist that you're part of you want to accept and which ones you want to reject, how you want to develop your thinking independently, how you want to explore outside of those predetermined conventions and structures. So for example, many people have a fear relating to, I must have a full-time job. Many people have a fear relating to money. I must have a regular income coming in. Many people have a fear that they must have a mortgage. Many people have a fear that they must have children. There's all these concepts. And when you scratch beneath the surface, you realise that a lot of life isn't actually about tangible things. It's about concepts, actually. Money is a concept. Money is a mindset, for example. Time is a concept and a mindset. And there's so many different aspects to life that aren't what we're told that they are. I hope this is making some sense. I also hope you can see me because the sun's right behind me here. So that's the first thing what I'm saying is that in order to realise your power as an individual, and it's individuals exploring their meaning and purpose that make up a healthy society, there has to be an examination of what belief structures serve you and which ones don't, and then a choice of which ones to accept, which ones to partially accept, and which ones to outrightly reject. And that does involve an element of risk. So there's the other thing. I've taken a risk. I've taken risks in the last couple of years. Some have paid off, some haven't. But again, I would say one of the reasons why we are where we are in 2020 in this sad and confused world is that we really need to recalibrate our attitude towards risk widely as a society, and as a society, that is as individuals within that society, because life is risk, and rewards only come by taking risks, and you can only really calculate a risk if you're in some way in tune with yourself, really, and your own personal belief and value systems. So I've really tried to do some work regarding the concept of risk, and don't get me wrong, I have some of the risks I've taken haven't paid off, but to live a life devoid of meaningful risk is a life of too much comfort, and too much comfort is the ultimate corrupting influence, which is something else I've learned, and something that I really need to continue to break through by pushing myself out of my comfort zone in many different ways, spiritually, mentally, physically, probably particularly physically, actually. The main thing that I've learned in this is last year really, and the main fear that I broke through is the fear of authenticity is real and it is powerful. I would say for the large majority of people in a society. Just wait till this car goes past. The fear of authenticity, why is that? Well, because people have a fear of being judged, me included. People have a fear of not being liked. That used to include me, now I don't really care. And these are all all perfectly understandable fears. But again, a society that is built on image rather than substance, and maybe sycophancy instead of character, and ideology instead of ideas. That's what happens when not enough people are brave enough, I guess is the word, courageous enough to be authentic, and I mean speak authentic, speak truth, speak their personal truth. And we live in a world dominated by the power of the media and of social media and celebrity, and none of those entities are encouraging the concept of genuineness and authenticity. I mean, just take a look at Facebook, have a look at your friends on Facebook and ask yourself, is this real? Are they really projecting their real selves? Take a look at how you interact yourself on Facebook and ask, are you really projecting your real self? So let me just adjust slightly. Hold on. Selfie stick's not very good. Okay, so the next topic that I want to talk about in relation to what I have learned, I mentioned it then, the importance, not even the importance, the critical importance of truth. Now, I'd previously compiled a list of my top 10 values in life. I need to do a lot more work myself on this. And there were two values that I realised are the two most important that initially weren't on my list when I compiled it a year or so ago. And those two values are truth and freedom, which are now my top two values. And when I talk about truth, I don't mean the truth, because the pursuit of the truth, whatever the truth is, always leads to misery. It leads to division. It leads to militant groups. Ultimately, it leads to war. The pursuit of the truth, because the truth doesn't exist. Look at religion. Look at the wars that have been fought over the centuries and the millennia regarding religion. The truth, in my opinion, doesn't exist. Personal truth, though, does. And personal truth, again, it relates to authenticity. It relates to introspection and self-awareness, and it relates to courageousness. It's about speaking and seeing. It's about absorbing the world around us, forming our own opinion, doing our own thinking, and then being brave enough to project that personal truth onto the world. It's a mixture of, I would say, curiosity, appetite to learn, and, as I said, introspection, and then bravery. And I really think, don't worry, I'm going to get to the parts in a minute where the work I need to do on myself. I'm just doing the positives first, but I really passionately believe that, just let this car go past. Otherwise you won't be able to hear me. I passionately believe that we've ended up as Western societies with too many individuals who have subscribed blindly to ideologies, often political ideologies, not so much religious ideologies anymore. That was in years past and centuries past, political ideologies, but now also social ideologies and health ideologies, without questioning what they actually mean, without questioning whether they benefit the individual and society at large. Too many people, here's another car, sorry. Too many people have allowed the governments and the media to do their thinking for them and have absolved themselves of the responsibility to impart their individual insight and then speak it as they find it. That is not healthy. The ultimate destination where you have a society with too many people doing that is either war or mass genocide. That's where it ultimately ends up, which is why it is so important that ideology in a society, whilst you can never eliminate it, it's always unhealthy. It needs to be kept to a minimum, and creativity, imagination and ideas need to be encouraged, and people need to be brave enough to engage with those ideas, to create, to have conversations. That there is personal truth. It involves an element of sacrifice, but again, life, sometimes you need to make sacrifices. So personal truth. The other one, freedom. If anybody can watch this video and say to me, without being sarcastic, that we are as free as we once were, I'm sorry, I can't believe you provide the evidence. We're not. I've covered all this before, but we're not. Freedom and the ability of citizens in a society to make choices, to calculate their own risk, and to live their lives with a large degree of autonomy, free of state interference, is absolutely, again, critical to a functioning and thriving and healthy society, which we do not have at the moment. Now, I hear a lot of people say next year is going to be better. When I hear them say that, it's like they've not considered the fact that things can get worse from here. Because again, living in the developed Western world with all of the comforts and privileges that many and most of us have, I think many people can't conceive that things can get much worse than this. Well, let me tell you, they can, especially when there's too many people who are not thinking for themselves, or too many people who've just fallen into this hypnotic trance, basically, as a result of government and media propaganda. So we're not actually in a very good place as things stand to allow things to become better, because there aren't enough people, in my opinion, who are willing to do those things that relate to creativity, imagination, and converse, reflect on their own belief systems, etc, etc, etc. We're ripe for further manipulation, unfortunately. which is why I've been so passionate since for quite a long time about just having conversations, particularly with people you disagree with, and I will continue to speak for that. I'd like to be optimistic, and I do find reasons for optimism, but my overarching take on things is one of pessimism, because I don't think we're emotionally mature enough as a society to stop what may be coming down the tracks. So I'll continue to passionately argue for the things that I believe in, and truth and personal truth and freedom are the two most important to me. Now here's the interesting thing, because here is where hypocrite warning time. I talked about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence relates to self-awareness and introspection, knowing your place in the world, knowing and being aware of what effect your behaviour has or can have on other people around you. So I talked before about how the pursuit of the truth can consume people and ultimately lead to war, and it can, and it does, and it has. Well, also the pursuit of having a list of values and focusing primarily only on 2 or 3 of those values can become consuming. And I think that's what's happened to a degree for me, because the other values that I want to live my life by, I would say maybe or not maybe, but probably definitely have neglected to a small or large degree in the last few months. So they relate to things like love and kindness, maybe, I don't know, humility, maybe. Even maybe self-awareness, which is one of my values. Maybe you've not been self-aware enough in these last few crazy months, turbulent months. Although, I guess you could argue saying that is self-awareness in itself. So, what I want to say to you is that whilst 2019 for me was about breaking through fears, about challenging the world as we're taught, as the world is, and realising that in order to be a truly authentic person we need to be pushed through those fears and challenge the narrative, etc, etc. And whilst 2020 has been about courageousness and standing up for what I believe in and speaking my from a position of pure personal truth and authenticity, I want 2021, even though I anticipate tumultuous times ahead, and I'm sorry what I do, but I want that to be about love and kindness, understanding, reassurance, humility, because I think it's going to be a tough year for a lot of people, and in doing so we can find, and I can find, what is the most important thing of all for me is purpose. A life lived through purpose and with purpose is a life well lived. A purpose that is built on clearly identified personal values as a result of a lot of personal development work. We then attain that precious meaning, therefore fulfillment, therefore happiness. That's what happiness is attained through. I really do think that. So that's what I want to focus on next year. I've got some noisy cyclists coming up, I'll just let them go past. Enjoying the nice weather as well.
Because of all the situation.
Hi. People out enjoying this lovely early winter's day. It's absolutely gorgeous. And gratitude, there's the other one, gratitude. Practicing more gratitude, that's what I need to do more of. But life is a journey. Cliche warning there. I don't actually like that phrase because it is too much of a cliche. I don't like cliches, try not to use them, but I probably do. But I guess life offers you a winding, meandering path to ultimately find your meaning, and whether you find your meaning in happy times or in terrible times, it's possible. It's possible. But it takes authenticity and bravery. So that's what I am going to focus on. Right, I'm going to wind up this video now. It's been great talking to you, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of my walk. And I'll speak to you all soon. Have a good day. Bye bye.